anonymous resting place among the trees of her childhood home. John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown, was an American serial killer and sex offender who assaulted and murdered at least 33 teenage boys and young men between 1972 and 1978. 26 of his victims were found buried in the crawl space of his Chicago area home. He was executed by lethal injection at the Stateville Correctional Center in Illinois on May 10, 1994. After his execution, his family faced a significant problem. No cemetery wanted to accept his body. Cemetery officials across the state refused, citing the certainty of constant vandalism and desecration of his grave, which would disturb nearby plots. Eventually, a private arrangement was made. Gacy's brain was first removed for scientific study, at his lawyer's request, to search for any physical abnormalities that might explain his behavior. The study yielded no conclusive results. His body was then transported for cremation. In a bizarre and eerie event, the oven at the first crematorium malfunctioned as the process began. He was subsequently taken to another facility where the cremation was completed successfully. His ashes were then handed over to his sisters. Their final disposition has remained a family secret ever since. While unconfirmed rumors have suggested they may have been buried in his mother's plot at Maryhill Cemetery, the family has never revealed the location, ensuring Gacy has no public grave to defile or venerate. Jeffrey Dahmer, one of America's most infamous serial killers, murdered and dismembered 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. His crimes often involve necrophilia and cannibalism. His life in prison was cut short when he was beaten to death by a fellow inmate, Christopher Scarver, in November of 1994. The death of Dahmer sparked a bitter and public legal battle between his divorced parents over what to do with his remains. His mother, Joyce, insisted that his brain be preserved and studied by scientists. She hoped that a neurological examination might reveal a biological cause for his monstrous behavior, potentially helping to prevent similar atrocities in the future. His father, Lionel, was vehemently opposed. He wanted his son's brain, along with the rest of his body, to be cremated immediately. He argued that it was time to put his son's actions behind him and wanted to destroy every last vestige of his son's existence to prevent his brain from becoming a ghoulish relic. A judge in Wisconsin ultimately sided with the father. In September of 1995, nearly a year after his death, the court ordered the cremation of Dahmer's entire body. After the cremation, his ashes were divided equally between his parents. What each of them did with their portion of the ashes is a private matter, never disclosed to the public. There is no grave, no marker, and no public memorial for Jeffrey Dahmer. Theodore Ted Bundy was a prolific American serial killer, kidnapper, rapist, and necrophile who assaulted and murdered numerous young women and girls during the 1970s. After more than a decade of denials, he confessed to 30 homicides before his execution in the electric chair at Florida State Prison on January 24, 1989. Bundy's final will and testament contained a chilling and specific request for the disposal of his body. He stipulated that he wanted to be cremated and have his ashes scattered in the Cascade Mountains of Washington state. This location was profoundly significant, as the Cascade Range was the backdrop for some of his earliest confirmed murders. It was in these mountains that he had hunted for his victims, and where the remains of at least 4 of them had been discovered. The request was widely seen as his final act of perverse defiance and possession, a desire to have his own remains become one with the landscape he had transformed into a burial ground. Despite the deeply unsettling implications, his wish was granted. Following his cremation in Gainesville, Florida, his ashes were flown to Washington. They were then scattered at a confidential, undisclosed location on Taylor Mountain, a peak within the Cascade Range. The exact spot remains a secret, known only to his lawyer and the small group who participated, ensuring that the final resting place of Ted Bundy is the very wilderness he once used as his macabre